Hello and welcome to the Munro Method Clancast. I am Jason Munro. This is episode 183. I have just created a carousel. If you don't know what a carousel is, when you go on Instagram and you see a post and it has lots of images for you to swipe through, that's what we call a carousel, in case you didn't know. So I've just created a carousel about one of my clients who is inside the 8-week rewire. She had taken GLP-1, she reduced her weight, and she was very aware that she had solved none of the problems, none of the reasons why she had that weight to lose. And unlike most people taking these medications who just throw money at it, and, when we think about traditional dieting, right, people diet and they just keep doing it, hoping that one sticks, right? That's their whole approach to their weight. I'll just try this new diet and hope that when I get to the end, the weight loss, the weight just stays off. It doesn't work like that. And the unfortunate thing is, because of the way these medications are being marketed, because they're being given to just anyone, there are many people who bring their yo-yo dieting mentality to the medication. So it's like, right, I'm going to take this. It's going to be great. Look at the results everybody's got. That's going to happen to me. And it's just going to magically stick at the end. And of course it doesn't, which is why 90+% of people go back to the weights that they were. So today, and sorry, I didn't finish off, but this person's now working with me because she understands that basically what I just said, right? She knows that the medication is the reason that she's lost weight. No other reason. It's the medication that's done it. And if she removes the medication, then the thing that made the weight go away is not going to be there anymore, right? So she understood that she was going to start regaining weight. So that's why she transitioned from medication to coming to work with me. Now, the cool thing about this is she's already lost 3 pounds. 3 pounds of body fat that was not medically assisted. It was done purely by working with me, making changes to it. Sorry, that sounds like a big brag. It's really not. I just mean she's done it purely by working with me and addressing the reasons why she had weight to lose. And this brings me on to what this isn't about her today. It just kind of sparked a thing in my head where something that I don't think's being talked about enough is the GLP-1 trap. So you know how Slimming World traps people. You go to Slimming World, you lose the weight with Slimming World, and they tell you that you're going to have to stay on plan and keep coming back to group every week to get weighed, and they show you all the statistics. X% of people who keep the weight off said they kept coming back to group, blah, blah, blah. As with anything, it's trying to trap you. No, sorry, that's not true. The medication isn't trying to trap you. But, God, I've not even thought about that. The pharmaceutical companies could be trying to trap you. Because here's the thing, right? You are desperate. You're excited. You're loving the thought of weighing less and all the stuff that goes with it. And you start taking the medication. And the food noise disappears because the food noise that you were creating because you refused to eat fruits and vegetables and you had the imbalanced blood sugar and you had a highly processed diet, all the negative things that you were creating through your nutritionally poor diet disappear in an instant. Because that's what the medication does. The things that you're not doing for your body through the way that you choose to take care of it, it gives you that in a needle. And so all that stuff that would have disappeared if you had a well-balanced diet, worked on your relationship with food, it's not an easy route because, people often say this, you see it online, oh, you're taking the shortcut, you're taking the easy route. It is and isn't, right? It is in the sense that it will allow you to lose weight while making no changes to your diet whatsoever. It's going to make you eat less, it's going to help you eat less, it's going to make you think about food less, but you could still eat the same terrible diet that you've always eaten and lose weight. Meaning, if you're someone that just snacks all day, you start your day with chocolate or crisps and then lunch is just a sandwich crisps and a bar of chocolate, and dinner's super noodles on toast or whatever, just some daft examples. Although, saying that, some of you might actually eat like that, but just the things that popped into my head. You could carry on eating like that, and the medication's got your back. It doesn't matter if you're not eating fruit, if you're not eating vegetables, if you're not eating protein, if you're not taking care of your health. The medication allows you to bypass that. This is why we are seeing so many people developing things that shouldn't exist anymore. People are getting scurvy because, like I said, right, if you already have... Here's a good example. When a woman falls pregnant, so the nutrition advice when a woman falls pregnant is that you have to stop trying to lose weight. You have to stop trying to lose weight immediately because the NHS knows that most people's idea of weight loss is just about trying to eat less, right? Trying to eat less food. The NHS also knows that the vast majority of adults in the UK do not have great diets. They have all the statistics for the people that avoid fruits and vegetables. You know, I talk about this all the time because I think that this is the whole problem that we have in the UK is fibre. This is my big thing. You know, people talk about fat and they talk about sugar and processed foods and all this shit. For me, if we just had a massive focus on fibre, I think it would solve all the problems. If we stopped talking about get your 5 a day and all this crap, if we just spoke about fibre and what it takes to get it in the diet, I think it would solve the majority of the issues in the UK. But anyway, so when you fall pregnant, the advice is you should stop losing weight, and that is purely down to the fact that the NHS knows most adults have terrible diets, and most adults' approach to weight loss is to just try and eat less of what they were already eating. Now, the reason that's a problem is, at least if you're eating, you've got a chance of getting enough nutrients in. You've got a chance of helping grow that little life inside of you. If you fall pregnant and you're heavily overweight and then you try to lose weight, you're going to try to eat less. And a lot of people will scale back everything. So that means they could potentially eat less fruit. They could eat less protein. They could eat less vegetables. And that's a big problem because then baby is getting less of everything that it needs. So this is why the standard advice is do not diet while pregnant. Can you lose weight while pregnant? Absolutely. I've helped many people do it. But that's when they're working with me. That's when I'm watching their diet. That's when I make sure they understand these things, right? Yes, you can lose weight while you're eating, but your diet quality is going to have to increase drastically. So in the same way that when falling pregnant, they don't want you to eat less because the potential is you just eat less of your already bad diet, that's what we're seeing with weight loss medications. People have bad diets. It's the reason that a part of the reason that they're overweight. They take the medication. It makes them much less hungry, but they don't change their bad diet. They just eat less of it. So now you're getting even fewer nutrients into your diet. And this is why we're seeing people developing scurvy, which is wild. It's the kind of thing that people would develop in the war when they were on the battlefield during the world wars through lack of fresh produce. So, and then the other thing that we're seeing that as well, and this is like, for me, we are in a GLP-1 bubble that is going to burst massively. I'm going to say 20 years. I was going to say 30, but realistically, there are probably women in their 50s and 60s taking this. I'm thinking of who's more inclined. I mean, yes, men as well, but I'm thinking about who's more inclined to see muscle wastage and osteoporosis. Yeah, so I think the GLP-1 bubble, I think in 20 years' time, GLP-1 is going to be massively regulated. It is not going to be offered to everyone. Like right now, it's unregulated, so the pharmaceutical companies are just going bananas, giving it to everyone and making billions and billions. And they will capitalize on that for as long as they can until all the data starts to come out, which it already is, but the more and more data comes out showing the negative effect that's happening to people, then it'll become tightly restricted. Then it'll be something that has to be done under medical supervision, regular visits to the hospital or to your GP or whatever. Because in 20 years' time, I think we are going to see an explosion of osteoporosis, arthritis. I think, I've never looked at any of this, but I'm pretty sure that if you looked at the statistics for elderly breaks and elderly falls, so many elderly people become very frail. Both of my grandparents, I split them up. I used to call them grandma and granny. My grandma passed away some time ago, but they both live, and my granny's still with us, but they both lived in the same sheltered housing. And, you see elderly people who are very frail, very thin, their muscles are wasting away. And whereas my granny is one of the fittest and most active in there, because she didn't spend her whole life dieting. She spent a lifetime walking and climbing hills and being active. And that is paying dividends because, she turned up here last week after walking all the way here from the shops with her shopping. I think, and people don't realise this, but the more that you mess around with your weight, the more that you diet, the more muscle gets stripped from your body. Every round of yo-yo dieting does not just help you lose fat, especially if you're doing it if you're following something like Slimming World or Weight Watchers, and you are eating protein, and you are eating vegetables, and you are eating the recipes, then it's not going to happen so much. But every round of dieting takes some level of muscle from your body. Now, most of the people I work with, they come to me with low protein intakes and worryingly low fibre intakes, right? They don't eat enough protein. They eat practically no fruits and vegetables. And their diets are awful. And it's the reason their weight is where it is. And most of what I do is trying to present that to people in a way that makes them want to change it. When you present it to people, it's one thing for the government to just say, oh, you should be eating your whatever a day and health and blah, blah, blah. But make it tangible. If you want to lose weight and keep it off for life, then focus on these things. Like attach a high value outcome to it. If health was... It's not that people don't care about their health. It's that health is too far in the distance. You put pictures of diseased lungs and whatever on cigarette packets. It doesn't stop people from smoking because, that's 20, 30 years from now. I don't need to worry about that just now. Until the time comes and they do get lung cancer or whatever. But when we're doing it with food, if you don't eat fruits and vegetables, this will happen. And it's not enough. People don't take it seriously enough. They don't think about it enough. They think that, I'm all right just now. I'm not eating fruit and veg, and I can still function each day. You have to attach it and say, but you're also overweight and you don't want to be overweight. So let's attach it to that. If you improve the fibre in your diet, if you eat more fruits and vegetables, the overall calorie content of your diet will reduce, your weight will reduce, your health will improve, etc., etc. So back to the medications. I've not even spoken about what I was going to talk about yet. With these medications, many people are jumping on them, whether through desperation or whatever else. And it's great. The weight starts to come down. Oh yeah, that's what I said. Yes, you will lose weight easier, but I don't think it's the easy route because it comes with a lot of stigma attached to it. Being someone on GLP makes you, I don't know, it's not that people get bullied. There's just a negative cloud around it. It's by no means easy, but there's a lot of judgment, I think, around it. A lot of judgment and a lot of jealousy. I work with many people who are heavily overweight who would love to jump on medication, but they've got the reasons why not. Some people it's ethical, some people realise, it's not going to change anything. Yes, my weight will come down, but I know it's going to go right back on again and I can't put myself through that again. For other people, it's the side effects. They're terrified. They don't want to inject themselves with something. So everybody has their own reasons, but it doesn't stop them from being jealous of people. And, and I have to remind them, look, see that person that you see that's lost 5 stone taking medication. What do you think is going to happen the minute they stop that medication, right? What's a good example? I can't think of a good example. Nope, my comparison brain has died. Ultimately, it's this, right? Think of GLP-1 as a blocker between you and the weight that you used to be. And if you remove the blocker between you and the weight that you used to be, you will go back to the weight that you used to be. So yeah, people take these medications, they start losing weight, they think it's incredible, they enjoy it for the time that it's happening, and then they get to the weight that they want to be. They don't want to lose any more weight, but they also don't want to gain weight. And now we have the GLP-1 trap. You're now trapped. You love your new body, you love being here, but you don't want to be paying hundreds of pounds a month forever to keep taking this medication, even if you do go down to the lowest maintenance dose or whatever. Some people can financially afford it, and that's fine. Fill your boots. I don't think these things have been around long enough yet for us to really understand what the long-term implications are going to be. But everything comes with a risk. Smoking comes with a risk. Vaping's got risk. Alcohol's got risk. Step out your front door, you could get hit with a car. Everything's got a risk attached to it. It's up to us to decide how much risks we're willing to take with our life and our health and whatever. But then there are many other people who cannot afford it, right? They've spent their savings, they've done whatever, and now they're in their new body and they go, well, shit. The excitement of going on it was great. The excitement of the weight loss happening was great. The excitement of getting to this body and buying the new clothes and all the rest of it. And now all that novelty's worn off. I am now in the position where, what do I do next? I'm terrified to come off it, because if I come off it, I know my weight's going to go straight back up. I know that I am still the same person who uses food for stress, who emotionally ate, still the same person who orders takeaways, still been going out for dinner and drinks, still love drinking cocktails, and I still like relaxing with food and drink, and yes, I've been doing less of it, but I've still been doing it. It's just I've not been doing it as much or at a great scale because of the medication. So they understand that the minute I take this away, I'm going to start gaining weight again because I've changed nothing. And I think that's the part that over the next few years, more and more people are going to get to, and it's going to become more of a thing. Right now, the hype is all... I mean, I'll be honest, I feel like the medication bubble is already burst. I think the trend is maybe levelling off. I don't think it's coming down yet, but I think all the hype and excitement of the last 2 or 3 years of it building up and being released, and here's this new one and here's this different variation, like all that's kind of stopped. It's here now and it's a thing. And once we come out the other side of this, I reckon over the next 5 years, weight loss medications are going to become a very negative thing. Like, until they can design some sort of drug that stays in your system forever, where once you stop taking it, then the effects keep happening, which, let's be honest, that's never going to happen. Unless, imagine they did that. Imagine they created a vaccination against weight gain. There's a thing. But yeah, listen, like I said, I've just done this carousel that's going to get posted tomorrow, Friday, 8th of May morning, about Sarah, who has lost 3 pounds so far. The natural way. The medication's been and gone. It's done. She doesn't regret it. She's happy that she did it because her weight was holding her back from doing a lot of things. She now feels better. So that's something that she's gained from it, which is then helping her feel a bit more enthusiastic about life, making her want to put more effort in. And now, with the changes that we're making through the work that we're doing, she's already 3 pounds down. She'll be due for another check in a few days' time, actually, where I've no doubt she'll be another 1.5 pounds or so down. And she's now doing it after medication, after thinking medication was the only thing. And all we've done, I mean, we haven't just changed the balance of her diet. She's been working through the 8-week rewire. So we've been swapping scrolling in bed for reading. We've increased her sleeping time. And also the way that she used to go straight to the kitchen and start looking for snacks, that kind of transition point between work's another thing that we work on during the 8 weeks. So yeah, we've done a lot more than just, improve your diet. You have to change your lifestyle as well, and that's what she's doing, and her weight's coming down naturally. So I guess the outcome of this episode, I think, is just if you are someone who is thinking of or is already on these medications, or maybe you're at that point where you are at the end and you do feel trapped, because I'm going to put in the title, the GLP-1 Trap, maybe it'll be the title of this episode, which is going to draw people who are either interested in it or on it. Please know that there is life after medication, but by no means, I would say that medications allow you to bypass the hard work to get to the result. But you still have to do the work. Like, all you're doing is delaying the work. You're still going to have to work on your relationship with food. You're still going to have to learn how to improve the balance of your diet. You're still going to have to become someone who prioritizes meals over snacking. You've still got all that stuff to work on. So, and I mean, this is the difference between like what I do and like medications. I help people work on those things while helping them lose weight. So by the time they get to the weight they want to be, everything's in place. Medications allow you to bypass that, get to the weight, but then you have to do the work. Like, the work's inevitable. You can't avoid it forever. You have to work on yourself and make those changes. Yeah, it can't be ignored. And if you ignore it, then all you've done is went on a very expensive, very quick yo-yo diet cycle. And it's been one of the most severe and aggressive diets you've been on, which means you have 100% stripped away muscle. There's the potential that you've lost bone mass as well, which is another thing that we're seeing in people on GLP-1s, where they're losing weight so quickly and aggressively. What happens is, like, typically your body will move over and use body fat for fuel. But it can only do that so quickly and so much. Once you've exhausted the capacity to lose body fat at any given moment or whatever, it then switches over and looks for other things it can break down for fuel. Do you know, it's a bit like, you know, I'm sitting looking at I'm walking around the office. I'm looking at a log fire right now. And it's a bit like, you know, imagine a pile of logs is like the body fat. And then the logs run out. And then you have to start looking at the furniture. And it's like, yeah, okay, well, we've ran out of fuel, but we need to keep the fire going. So let's take that desk to pieces and let's start burning that desk. That's what it's like, right? We've got as much as we can from body fat just now. This body cannot run on fresh air. It has to have a constant supply of fuel. What's next? Muscle. Okay, let's start taking muscle mass. Right, we've done as much as we can here. What's next? Let's start taking bone mass. The bone mass is an extreme thing. That's like a last resort. But it is something that we're seeing in people taking medications where they're eating 300, 400, 500, 600 calories in a day when the body needs 2,500 or 3,000, you know, with people who have like a lot of weight to lose. So, you know, if you are someone looking at these numbers and things, you know, oh, that person's lost 5 stone, that person's lost 6 stone, please know that a significant portion of that has not come from the weight that they wanted to lose. And this is why I don't like getting into this, right? Because I'm not interested in it. But when you read the media about Ozempic bodies and all that shit, this is one of the reasons that you're seeing people with very drawn-in faces and stuff, because they're losing muscle mass. You know, it's not just, you know, when you think of muscles, you think about biceps, you think about chests, you think about triceps, the back of your arms, maybe your calves, maybe your hamstrings, maybe your thighs. You typically don't think about, well, actually, I've got muscles in my fingers. I've got muscles in my cheeks. I've got muscles in my jaw. I've got muscles in my neck. This is why you see a lot of people, a lot of celebrities being dragged through the media talking about Ozempic face and all that kind of stuff. I mean, I don't like all that. But whatever, that's what it is, right? It's not just body fat being lost, it's muscle. What I will say though, if you're someone who has a lot of weight to lose, you don't really need to worry about that. It's more when you start getting down closer to healthier weights, that's when the body will start tapping into other fuel sources once the body fat's getting a bit lower. Anyway, how do we end this? We end this by saying, if you want to take these medications, do it. But, you know, I'm not against them. I hope that's not come through in this episode at all. These are miracle drugs that are changing people's lives. However, you have to use them properly. You cannot expect this medication to do all the heavy lifting. You cannot expect to get away with not doing the hard work. You know, don't spend hundreds of pounds, potentially thousands of pounds on this and waste the opportunity. I have worked and am working with so many people who are either on it or trying to come off it and lower their doses. Because like I said, they're aware that they need to transition from being, you know, someone who ate the way that they did into a new version of themselves. So, if you're going to do it properly. Do it with your eyes wide open. Do it knowing that you have to still do the important work. And here's the thing as well, right? when you're on the medication, it actually makes it easier to improve the quality of your diet. The food noise that it relieves you from, and it's a bit of a paradoxical thing, right? You create the food noise by having a terrible diet. And that food noise makes you want to eat biscuits and chocolate and whatever. Well, once that's gone, then you can start to change your diet, right? So use it as an opportunity to start improving your diet. Yes, you're going to be eating less of it, but still you have to put together balanced meals and learn how to do that so that when you come out the other side and the medication goes away, your diet then takes over and does what the medication was doing. Anyway, that's enough from me. Oh, hope that's been helpful. Until next time.